Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower Daily Chat. I am here with my good friend Peter Macon from the Orville. You know, this is my first time hosting one of these chats, and we thought we'd bring on a special guest. And this should be really fun tonight because Peter had me out to set in December, and I get to see all the amazing things from Season 3. However, we can't really talk about a lot of that. But yeah, so this will be really fun. Happy Friday, everybody. Peter, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. This is going to be fun. Who's that guy behind you over there?
Some guy I used to do business with. But, it's on hold.
It's on hold, yeah, right. So
the guy that scares people in my office.
People in your office. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I think we'll knock out some of these basic questions that you probably get a lot. Like, what are some of your favorite episodes that you just enjoyed working on, or even just the story-wise?
Let's see. I'm gonna have to say, I think season 2, episode 2. I forget the name of it, but it's when Bortus gets addicted to porn in the simulator.
Oh yes, and the holodeck,
and almost runs the ship into a star.
Yep. I like the episode with the cell phone and the cigarettes.
Well, the reason why I like that episode, the one I was talking about, is because it's functioning on two extreme sort of opposites. It's like maybe three, like the isolation of porn addiction and the being the distanced from his mate and and then saving people's lives, and then having to choose between. So, I mean, the drama is real. The comedy is real. Like some of those scenarios, like the dungeon, when he says, my name is Cheston. I mean, it's operating on like all these
different levels, right?
Yeah, but then like it's really the drama of what is actually going on is pretty thick.
Yeah. So, I would say that the storytelling in season 2 was just a huge step up from season 1.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way too?
Oh yeah, I mean, we had to find, like our sort of parameters, if you will.
Right.
We had to sort of introduce people to the world of the show, and then give a little bit of backstory, or just broadening and thickening character story development. Before you can do too much, you can't do too much at first, because then people I think it's too much. And so I mean, we definitely jumped on the building blocks of what we set out. Yeah. In the season 1, and like the stuff that we've been shooting for season 3 even further.
Yeah.
Develops that stuff. So, I mean, that story, it's basic storytelling, but yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's another thing about the season 3 that you had me out to set, and the thing that was so cool is just how much more it's going to be and how amazing it's going to be, and the sets in general. Because I spent some time on the Star Trek sets, and the Orville sets, oh man, it's just another world, so to say. And for you, it has to be immersive because the ship is truly laid out like you think it should be. The bridge is where it is. The staircase comes up and goes down to the quarters and sick bay, and that long curved hallway actually is down there. It's not just a fake background, right?
Yeah, no. And so you can do a lot of walk and talk.
Yes.
You can set up crane shots. You can set up tracks. You can set up stuff outside to shoot. The shoot from exterior to interior. I mean, in that set itself, it goes down another story. Because it's a 2-level set, and
which is amazing.
The build of it. Just construction wise, to the foundation goes down a whole nother level just to support all that. So I mean, it's really cool because we get a lot. We don't have to imagine a whole lot. We just be in it, and as well as the view screen in the on the bridge. we see what the camera's seeing,
Right.
in real time, which is cool. And like, I think it helps the editors a lot. We still do, 3 cameras minimum, and take after take after take to get it right.
Yes.
But it definitely helps us be, in the pocket of what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think just how immersive those sets are, like you said, the panels and the bridge, you feel like you're on the bridge because everything is moving and working. And even in the hallways, the panels there are all working and actually do what you expect them to do. So for your particular station, what do the buttons do? Do they actually change the screens and things like that?
Well, it depends on what the action sequence is, but I have like my own take on the way that I operate the buttons, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like, and I was talking to the editor, Tom, and he's like, man, like, it's really fun to watch you work the panel, because it's like I have to sit there and do it a lot. And so I have my own story development of how things work, and if things are not working according to like the panels that are, because they change, and depending on, again, what the scene is. But I try to, as an actor, just, or just as a person on the bridge, like, I'm not just like randomly punching buttons,
right?
Because I think that you can look at that and be like, oh, he's doing the same button movement as he's doing, so when there's red alert or there's, there's different things going on. I try to be as specific as possible so that it furthers the storyline, and it also gives me something to do. Because it's like, I'm crazy bored, like just doing the same thing,
especially over and over and over, right? Doing the same scene.
No idea. Like, I mean, when we're on the bridge all day.
Like, yes, I know.
12-15 hours, and you got to keep it sexy and exciting.
Yes,
for yourself.
Right, indeed.
But
it is impressive how immersive that is, because, I mean, that must play into how you act, and I mean, it just must really help, because the way the ship is set up, you feel like you're there, and let's say, for instance, the ship loses power, and they actually can simulate some of that, and it actually makes it so immersive for you, and just it's just phenomenal, right?
And I think that's just important to do that character wise, to just have, like, I know what this sequence of buttons do when I do this, and like a chain, and so I have like sort of like this toggle kind of thing that I do, because I'm just like, okay, what does a keyboard look like on a spaceship? You know what I mean? Like, and so it's got to be very simple to operate, but very a lot of training to go into. When you're looking at the screen, you're talking, you got to be able to. I did really, really poorly in typing class, so I made up for that.
Oh man,
to be able to work your fingers and talk to Tala, or talk to the captain, or talk to whatever ensign is right there, and making sure, just being responsible for all of the gadgetry. I think is all the details matter, like the devil's in the details, and like for people who, like myself, I'm watching something, I'm like, I get taken out when the character is phoning it in, or it doesn't. Like, I don't want to give anybody any chance to be taken out of the action, because I'm not really committed to operating my panel. Right. Like, I could show you what everything does, and the calibrations and the math, and like, this is the calculator that's going on, and like all these things are like, and this is the stuff that I load up for myself, so that I can stay busy even when I'm not, directly on camera.
Right.
That stuff is important, because if you're not doing that, it's distracting.
Yeah.
And that's just the world I come from. Like, I come from the theater. I started out playing like, third messenger from the left, and you got to be still and, throw your focus to the center action, so that like the audience can follow what's going on with the main characters. It's the same principle. If I'm kind of back there dinking around, and, there's something going on, that's going to catch our eye, and it's going to take you out. So I'm aware of what the camera, who's being shot, what kind of lens is what they're using, how close they're coming in, what the range of motion is, and I think it's important to, just as a craftsman, to be knowledgeable and aware
Yeah.
of all that's going on, so that you can just constantly lend, what you're doing,
Yeah.
and not draw focus in a negative way.
And those level of sets must really help with that. I mean, just really help you engage with the fact that you feel like you're on the ship, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even. To your point, yes, because I don't even think about it anymore.
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking about what I'm supposed to be thinking about. Not. Oh man, this set is really cool. Like I don't have to.
Right.
I'm on the set, and I'm not on the set. I'm on the bridge, or I'm in my quarters, or I'm in like the, in the mess hall, or wherever.
Wherever. Well, one of the things we got to talk about is the makeup. So how long did it take you to get used to that level of makeup? And how long does it take to get into the Bortus outfit?
Well, you came into the makeup trailer, right?
Yes.
So excuse me, so typical, like say on a Monday, my call will be 4:45, 5 o'clock, whatever. I get there, I'm in the chair like 5, and by 6 I'm asleep. And I wake up and I look like Bortus.
That's pretty amazing.
2 hours.
Okay.
Like 2 hours. Because what they do is there's 3 prosthetic pieces that they apply with glue, essentially. And then they blend those together. And then they airbrush. When they put makeup over all that to make it, sort of one cohesive thing, and then they airbrush the whole thing to make it seamless. And so sometimes I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, I can't really tell where my skin,
right? Because even your hands and arms, you get some detail there too.
They paint and airbrush my hands. So it's a makeup mess. I'm like the drummer in a band. I'm like the first one in and the last one out, pretty much every day.
How long did it take to get used to all that, though? I mean,
when you say used to, what do you mean?
From like season 1 to season 2, you're like more comfortable with it now, or is it still like?
Yeah, no, I'm super comfortable with it. I mean, when you came to visit and we walked over to the other set, I forgot. I forget. Yeah. When I leave the stages, and I walk around the lot, and I'm like, oh, and I see just because of the way people are looking at me, I'm like, why are they looking at me like that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, right.
That's right.
Right. I forgot. I don't look like the average guy.
Right,
around.
Exactly. So we have definitely some folks asking questions here in chat. One, this one's pretty good. Is Seth fairly open to dialogue tweaks or general suggestions about characters or even the story?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm going to say, I'll say this much.
Okay.
They open the writer's room months before we start shooting.
Okay.
So they're in, the writer's room writing for months, right? And by the time we get it, it's pretty well realized. And then if there is I don't like Bortus's like Machlin's in general, we don't what's the word? We don't say can't, we say cannot. We don't say don't, we say do not. We never what's that word? Like what's the word? It's really horrible in English class. Not conjugate, not
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Whatever that is. We don't do that. And so he's very, and so, you could sort of forget about it and be absent-minded and just, in learning the words, throw in a can't, and he'll pop in and he's like, I'll make sure it's cannot. But that being said, if there has been things I'm like, I don't think that this, and it's usually just like 1 or 2 words or something that's just, that I feel like it just doesn't feel right in my mouth. It doesn't feel, and he's open to them, and he'll be like, oh, do that choice.
Yeah.
And then do the other choice too, but just so we have the other choice. But usually, I'm right. But
nice.
But it's set up in such a way that, I can only be right. You know what I mean? Like, because it's it's crafted in such a way, and it's so thoughtful in its creation that I don't have to like mine the text and the script for discrepancies. Like it's only when like there's like a hiccup or there's something and I'm like, oh man, this just is not, it doesn't feel natural to an alien. If and so he's really because he just wants to tell the best story. He just wants to be the best. He's not an egomaniac.
No,
but he does work super hard and diligently on getting everything specific. And like I have a friend who is a composer. Shout out to Marcus Shelby in the Bay Area, like the Marcus Shelby Jazz Orchestra. He writes for a 17-piece Duke Ellington style big band jazz, and he's like, I can't like. He says that when I give these scores to the cats that are going to play them, it only makes it better because what they do is they take it and they run with it, and it's not precious in the sense of I've done all my work, and so once Seth gives us the scripts. Like we are invested in these characters. We only make it better by being that much more invested in it. So it's a win-win. Because it is like a big band orchestra working together. Or just a symphony or whatever. Because it really does. A lot of times, dialogue-wise, read or sound like a score. Do you know what I mean? And so usually, like sometimes, like like when Scott's character, when Gordon's, it's kind of up here and he's bubbling up, and then like Bortus kind of comes in with like a 1 or 2 line dry. That's all. It's by design.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't really like futz with it too much. Yeah. Because they did really spend a lot of time crafting it. Right. And by the time we get it, it's ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So when you go into makeup, right, do you feel like there's this switch that happens and you actually become your character? Or do you feel like Bortus is with you always?
Bortus is me in a lot of ways. Just in the same way that Sam the Eagle and Eeyore is me. But no, I don't have to make this whole huge switch. Literally, I swear to God, like, because we have a now 2 and 4-year-old, and sleep does not come cheap.
Yeah.
In my household, so I get up at 4:30, 4:15, whatever, hit the freeway, get to work, and have like 15-20 minutes to do like a quick workout, just like kind of wake up, get some coffee or some tea, and catch a little bit of the news and then get in the chair. And again, like I try to stay awake in the chair, but they're like, close your eyes, 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 close your eyes. And like inevitably I fall asleep and I wake up and that's who I am. And I'm like, oh, okay, hello, you again. You know what I mean? Like,
and you have some pretty limited movement too with your head, right? You have to use
no neck turn.
You have to no neck turn, the whole body kind of thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That had to take some getting used to.
Yeah, it did. And what's cool now is that I work that into his physicality.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And work, and when I say that, I mean I work that into his disposition. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't really he's not a very jerky person. You know what I mean? Very slight, very subtle.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of things that I work on when I'm, especially at the bridge.
Yeah.
When I'm on the bridge, and just like how I can just, he can just be there and comment without saying anything, but just a little look. And if the camera picks that up and the editor picks that up, they can pop that in very not dissimilar to like The Office or Modern Family.
Yeah.
Where it's like you have those takes. Then that's storytelling. You know what I mean? And so, there was, oh God, I can't tell you that. Damn it. I was going to tell you something.
Yeah, season 3.
We were shooting in season 3 that I had to do, and I had to really construct it. Because I was being asked to do this this thing, this comment, but then I had to, and it was a huge thing, but I had to reel it way in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the challenge of that was super interesting, because it's like I'm asked to do like this almost explosive thing, but really in a subtle way.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, how do you, this isn't what I did, so I'm not trying to get fired or sued, but like, imagine being asked to, poop your pants and not make a big deal out of it. You know
right.
I mean?
Gotcha.
It's a big deal to poop your pants.
Yeah.
But it's, like how you like, and the camera's like right in my face.
In your face about it. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, those kinds of things. And so when you're in with a scalpel, that's the kind of work that I myself personally have gotten to, say, since from season 1. Like when it was just sort of broader strokes.
Right.
So I just can't wait to get back to it.
No doubt.
And like now I'm just like, man, I don't even know if I can do this anymore.
Yeah. it's been so long, right?
It's been, let's see.
Because you literally broke for the holidays, right? Right after I was there, almost.
My last day of shooting was, I think, February.
Okay.
Like either 24th or 20 something.
Yeah. So.
And then they went dark. When everybody went dark, like sort of the next week.
Yeah.
So that's been like a good 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
Right.
Know what day
I thought
today.
when Seth was on Fallon, I thought it was hilarious because he's like, yeah, one scene everybody will be all good and fit. The next scene everybody won't be, and that'll be the time during.
I've been trying to, keep up with my fitness and lifting weights and just like because I had a pretty decent regimen.
Yeah, right.
And
it's
now
keep that.
It's.
Yeah, for sure. So, what are some of the things the cast and crew that you guys do for distraction or downtime while cameras getting reset or while you're working during the day? I mean, I know some of the things. I mean, obviously, like we're doing show tunes and hanging out, but I mean, what are some of the things you have fun while you have that downtime?
We play a lot of jokes each other. Like we do a lot of like. We have a lot of like pranks that we play on each other.
Nice.
Running pranks, like pranks that last weeks. Do you know what I mean? Taking people's chairs and putting them like in, like we do that. We do a lot of guess the show tune, guess like games we play each other. We play like, try to toss the water bottle into
Yep.
There's craft services. A lot of us do laps around the stage.
Yep.
I mean, it varies. Like there's a lot of, and it depends on what time of day it is. Like sometimes I'm just trying to find a comfortable place to sleep for,
right.
For a minute. It's like,
well, that was an interesting thing being on set is, the Star Trek set, not everybody got along, but I was super impressed. The crew and the cast, everybody was so incredible. I mean, you guys really gel, and you could tell that you guys are just having the time of your life.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, man, especially like like a lot of the crew. I mean, these guys have been around. He's a veteran, and the fact that I used to know. I don't know how it's going to go back in, but knowing everybody's name,
right?
You know what I mean? That means
a lot.
Because what that says is it says, I can't do my work without you,
right?
And I see you, and if we don't get our work done, you don't get to get your work done. And it's a whole collective effort. So I mean, and I think that builds a lot of morale because it's not an us and they. it's a we. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And
that vibe totally came through. I was really impressed because that was not true on the Star Trek sets.
well, I mean, I think it makes a difference.
It does.
When you can bring a guest on to set and it's lunchtime, and you can be like, hey, so and so, this is my friend Mark, or like you can by name and like, and and that makes I would imagine that makes them feel like that what they're doing is being seen. Like like we have multiple camera operators, 2 sets of camera operators, and just being able to like say, yo, Steve, or hey, Mark, or hey, like well, now I can't remember their names, so but what like by name, what I mean, like, and that gets their attention, and you're like, where's the frame, like, as opposed to, hey, cameraman, right? It's like, no, I mean, so and we get everybody's job is important.
Yes.
And I think and when you have like a set like that, where everybody recognizes, and maybe like, when we're on hiatus, everybody would come back and we'd give everybody hugs, people bringing, cupcakes and presents and whatever. I mean, it just makes, like, how's your family? Like, and you care, like, it just makes a difference, and so, and then that, when we're like 13 hours in, and everybody's like going crazy on like a Thursday night, and we're trying to get done. We're in this ship together. It just makes it's a very fun, and I missed them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think about like, I mean, I know that the pay scale is different from, and I just, I feel for, a lot of these people, like crew members who are struggling in a different way, because of, in this COVID pandemic, and I find myself thinking about, wondering how they are, and we saw a bunch of them. Well, that was pre-COVID, but like at Super Bowl, we were at a Super Bowl party that John Cassar, the director for a lot of the shows, hosted at his house, and it was just so great to just hang out and know everybody's name.
And know everybody, right?
And know everybody. It was just like cool.
And like I said, I totally got that vibe hanging out on set. And the fact that not only the crew, but the cast, everybody was making sure that I was okay. I'm like, I'm good, thanks, And everybody was like, did you get food? Do you know where the food is? It's so good.
Well, I can't imagine what it's going to look like when we go back. But we had a craft services team, or from New Orleans, and so like, I don't know if you've ever been to New Orleans, but like New Orleans people in Big Easy love to eat.
Yes.
And we ate good. I mean, like,
oh my gosh, the food was amazing. Yeah, it was awesome.
So, I mean, and we just want to share the love.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because that's just like I think that's from the top down too. Like, I mean, Seth is he's a workaholic, but he's about the work, and as long as I mean, I've had sort of first time guests come, and they're just like, they don't get it, and I'm like, dude, you can't. Like, I want to meet Seth. I'm like, no, you can't. But like, for the most part, people get it, right? And he gets that we get it, and so then so now it was open, it was like, because it's like no one's taking the piss, no one's like really like taking advantage of the situation, and and it just makes for a good thing.
That was, my impression of Seth before meeting him. I had no idea really, and after you introduced me, it was so fun the rest of the day because he kept asking me questions and so forth. And then when
really?
And then when the props guy brought in new things to look at, he was like, Mark, come here.
Cool.
So that's
cool. See, that's what I'm saying.
That was amazing. He was totally, and he was excited, just how excited I was, right? So, and I think that fed into it, right? So that was so just really cool. So,
I mean, I think that this is something that he's been wanting to work on.
You can tell
since. Like his sister, who does the voice of like a lot of the computers, and she does a lot of voiceover work, and she said that when he was 2014 or something like that. He built like a
huge
scale, huge, like, I don't know, it's like one. I don't know how big the Enterprise really is,
right.
He built like this scale model out of cardboard and Christmas lights, of the Enterprise.
He's,
you know what I mean? And it's just
such a huge Star Trek fan. You know, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and he's like an animator and an artist and like a composer, and like all this creativity is just pouring out of him. So like you can't do all that by yourself, and so it's great to he's smart when he surrounds himself with, you know, like-minded fanatics of the genre and of the way of, you know, creating things.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's very smart and very generous. You know, funny guy. I just talked to him, I think.
Yeah, it was a blast talking to him. I thought for sure of everybody I would just be kind of, oh, don't talk to Seth kind of thing. But no, he was just super personable. So
no, there's like this unspoken sort of thing of like, everybody gets it, and like I had no idea if, you know, I didn't know because it wasn't because that's not what was important. It wasn't important. Like you didn't come like, oh, I want to meet Seth.
No,
you know what I mean?
I came to hang out with you.
Yeah, I mean, and like you know, if I'm not in the scene with him, there's some days I don't see him at all.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
So it's like it doesn't, like, that's not the deal. You know what I mean? I brought some friends over to a set that we did. That we had like this past season, and I wasn't even shooting, and I just brought my friends over, and it was because it was such an amazing thing that they were doing, and he was excited to meet them because we came to see what so
he's definitely, you could tell his true genuine enthusiasm. He's just so excited. He's like a little kid.
Dude, he has the model of the Orville in his library at his house.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? And the model is probably 3 feet long.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's amazing. So like for all of like, and I used to build models. In fact, hold on.
Okay.
I got this model that I had, you know, like because my sons are into airplanes.
Oh,
and like,
nice.
I still build models.
Very cool. Yes, I'm with you 100%. Models, Legos, I love doing all that.
Yeah. I had this. Go ahead.
Do you find that when shooting scenes that there are definitely particular scenes where you're really laughing and really trying hard to hold it together? How often does that happen?
Oh, like every day. You know, it depends on like. It depends on where the gremlins are, you know, like sometimes the gremlin, because it's like, you know, tell me not to do something and that's all I want to do.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So if we're shooting like an ensemble, you know, where it's like, because, you know, comedy is math, right? So it's like, if it depends on like, you know, boom, 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 you know what I mean? Like if it's just sonically wise, it's like, and everybody's trying, like if there's something in the air, it's like, you know, sometimes it'll take literally like a half an hour or 45 minutes for us to get through, you know, extra more than it needed to.
Right.
Because, you know, there's like this, like for instance, in I don't know, I think it was season 2 where Isaac and Scott. Or Isaac and Gordon. Gordon was trying to teach Isaac about pranks.
Oh yes, he cuts his leg off.
And he cuts his leg off, right? And he comes in with his leg not fully formed, and he had like this little foot that was like, you know, it was so hard not. Because like he couldn't look at it, and once he couldn't look at it, everybody else had a hard time not looking at it, and then it turned into this thing of like, I was like, I bet that thing smells like Limburger cheese. Like I bet you, like, you know, it just like, because it was just still growing, and it was like Deadpool. he's growing back. So when there's something in the air, it's you know, because we're all goofballs, man, and it's so hard to even Seth, you know what I mean, and like, and then it's like, okay, we'll be goofing off, like to the point like where people are like, Seth is trying to rein us in, like, because we know the producers are in Video Village, and they're like, okay, look, this is costing, this time is money, and like even that makes it worse because we know that like, oh, we got to get this, well, we can't do it, you know what I mean, like, And so it's like it's the existence and the possibility of that kind of energy to live.
Yes.
Where where you're just trying not to laugh and trying to get through something, and or somebody will get stuck in the weeds on a line,
right?
And literally 30 times they can't, and it's just they're oh, I'm sorry. Seth included.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. This time, okay, I got it. Oh, wait, okay, this time, so that happens pretty much every time we shoot. Yeah. And we're like the bad news bears trying to
that's great.
Trying to get it done and finish the day. But sometimes that stuff is just funny, man.
Right.
You just can't.
Yeah, it's got to be just, and you're having fun in general anyway, right? So I mean, it just makes it.
It's absurd. I'll catch myself in the bathroom, and I'll be in the bathroom and I look over and it's DP the lead grip.
Yeah.
And I'll just be there, and I'm aware, and I'll go like this. I'll go like
and just do the Bortus face. Yeah.
Let's go back. I mean, it's so silly.
Yeah.
Because they all. It's
a good time. I mean, you could definitely tell. So, now that you're part of a sci-fi show, what are some of your other favorite TV shows or movies sci-fi related? I mean, and do you feel like you're, especially with Star Trek, do you feel like you're always drawing comparisons now?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I mean, I can go back and watch them now, but truth of the matter is, I hated Star Trek growing up because my dad loved Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
And when Star Trek was on, that's all we could watch. And I was a Space 1999 guy.
Oh yes, I love Space 1999.
I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch Space 1999.
Me
while
too.
My mother got ready for work, and the original, and as well as the remake of Battlestar Galactica, I was totally into. I was super into Robotech. I was super into
Voltron,
Akira, Tron.
Yeah.
Voltron,
yes.
Thundercats,
nice,
and right now, Ghost in the Shell, the original Ghost in the Shell. I just love that movie so much.
Yeah, it's so good. What did you think of the live action movie?
I've seen it maybe four times.
Okay.
And I think the thing they got right. The best part about that movie was when she's chasing the guy
across
with her.
Yeah.
And she's got her cloak on.
Yep.
And she's that fight sequence, that was
so
amazing.
Good.
I'd never seen that in live action film. But I'm a huge Blade Runner fan, and Blade Runner 2049, and I've watched, I've seen Blade Runner probably 30 40
right
times,
easily,
maybe more. And 2049 I've probably seen maybe 20 times. The score for 2049 is out of the world. I mean, it's amazing. And the score for Blade Runner, the original one, is great. I've seen director's cuts. I've seen, so I really dig that, that world. Although, I mean, it's pretty dark, and it's, it's not as it's not as utopic as our world. But trying to think of another comparative. I watched Buck Rogers.
Yeah, right.
I'm a sci-fi. I see you got the Serenity.
Yes.
In the background, I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, man. So good. I love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about spaceships, and my dreams are bananas. I really honestly believe that in some form of my consciousness, is coexisting with some other something in another, like,
a parallel Earth dimension.
something, I don't know, because my dreams are so vivid and specific. I smell and taste in my dreams.
Yep, me too.
And I just, like, like, I just think that, maybe in 100 years, 200 years from now, like, you'd be like, oh, of course, because you guys were sharing a consciousness, and like, there's like, that's why it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, so, I am a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, Star Wars, I love, of course, but yeah, like what's it? Gosh, the anime.
Which
it'll
one?
come to me in a minute.
All right.
Gosh, it'll come to me in a minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna blurt it out. And it's not gonna make any sense.
It's not gonna make any sense. So, what other actors do you really admire? And on the dovetail, what actors or guest stars have you really enjoyed working with on the show?
Well, I haven't really had that many interactions with our guest stars.
Okay.
Like hanging out on set, like, Charlize Theron was cool.
Right.
Ted Danson's really cool. Like, Rob Lowe was really fun. Patrick, this is Warburton. Was
Oh yeah.
fun. Yeah, he was a lot of fun to hang out with.
I bet.
Him. But yeah, I mean, it's fairly, the way that it's structured, they don't really interact that much with my character. But what was the first part of the question?
What are other actors you admire?
Oh man. So Cliff Curtis.
Yeah.
Cliff Curtis. Like, man, like, I would love. He's so transformative. Like, that movie Sunshine.
Yeah.
Like, he, because like, Once We Were Warriors. That, like, his first. Well, I don't know if that was his first movie.
I don't know
like,
either,
that was the first movie I saw him in. I mean, he's just so, like, like Colombiana. Like, I've seen him play all these different parts, and I like how he shifts a lot. Like, I'm a big fan of Tom Hardy as well. This guy, I mean, I have a running thing going on. Like, I love Viola Davis. Like, the people I'd, like, pitched to come to the show. Like, I tried to pitch Grace Jones to come. Like, I said to Seth, I'm like, we should get Grace Jones to come on the show. Like, I've been a huge fan of hers since I was like 15.
Yeah.
But gosh, I'm trying to think of who. Like, that's just on my mind today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's me again tomorrow. But Cliff Curtis, like, I just think that he's so transformative. You know what I mean? Like, and like, I just love his body of work, and like, shout out to Cliff Curtis, because I'm just like, man, just and like, I think Tom Hardy is like such a, again, he's transformative too. Like, I loved his Bane. Like, and have you ever seen that movie Warrior that he did?
I did not see that one, but
he got huge. He was playing like this. I think he was playing a boxer. I don't know. I didn't think it was an MMA fighter, but it was like, but he just, like, he all trained with, like, the British, special forces and stuff like that. I mean, I just dig all that stuff. Like, I mean, Idris Elba. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm a huge
absolutely.
fan
Me
of
too.
his,
big time.
And then, like, going down the line, like Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Like, I really dig, and like, Don Cheadle, I'm really a huge fan of. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'd love to work with Sam Jackson too.
Ooh,
like,
that'd be fun, right?
Like, I was writing this piece that I was trying to, pitch that, But anyway, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But like, but yeah,
that would be. He would be a blast to work with, I would think. So.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty fun. I'd love to work with Anthony Hopkins.
Oh yeah.
Judi Dench. You know what I mean? Dame Judi Dench.
Yep.
I'd love to. Yeah, I mean, Cillian Murphy. There's a lot. I mean,
that's awesome.
I just love working with actors who love this thing as much as I do. I've been in love with this thing since I was in second grade. So, I got a lot of gray hair growing in places like, I'm surprised about.
Yeah, I hear that. I can relate to that. All right. So, how about how much do you enjoy just straight up voice acting versus acting in front of the camera? I mean, what do you like better, or is it just a different?
It's a different animal, and like it's like being like like a circus trainer or something, like having like all these different things that you could do. Like, I mean, I've done a bunch of audiobooks.
Yeah, I know.
And audiobooks that's probably my least. Well, I'm not going to say my least favorite. It's the loneliest.
Yeah, true.
Because it's the most. You have to be the most. I feel like not the most, but you have to be really technically sound with because you're narrating a book and you're playing, like my voice playing a little girl, or a little boy, or like
Right.
a woman. You know what I mean? Like having to be consistent with that, and it's difficult to. So it's a lot of times I have to get playback to remember, to get into that particular character.
Right.
But then there are like multiple scenes where there's like 5 different characters talking to each other. And I did this book, the latest edition of this book called Catch a Fire, which is a biography of Bob Marley. And so then I had to I didn't really brush up on my Jamaican patois and then try to emulate Bob Marley's voice.
Okay.
And then like Bob Marley is an international.
Yeah.
Bob Marley belongs to the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody has, a personal relationship with Bob, even though they never met him. And with Rita Marley and Sadela Marley and Ziggy Marley and Stephen Marley and like all these different people. And that's a 12 or 14 CD book.
Right. Yeah.
And that took about 4 months to do, and like you can 6 hours a day.
Yeah,
that's all you can do.
Right.
But I've done a bunch of video games.
Yes, you have.
Which is fun, and like a lot of mocap video games. Which is easier because you're moving, but when you're just in the booth and it's just you and the microphone and your voice, you know what I mean? If you have a cold, or if you have the sniffles, or if your voice gets tired, all that stuff matters in a way that it doesn't come into play, say, on set of the Orville. Like, so, I mean, I enjoy it all. And it's just that, they're all slices of a pie to compose or comprise a whole pie. And
right.
I think that it's important to be as proficient in as many aspects of the craft as you can as an actor. So there's not one that I like doing more than the other. I mean, I will say this, I really I think my favorite times that I've had working was with this run of Macbeth that I did up at Oregon Shakespeare Festival, where we performed Macbeth. We did 150 shows, which was from February to, I believe, the beginning of November.
Okay.
In 2010, maybe 9, I don't know. And I really like martial arts and stage combat, and we had like these tungsten blades that would spark. So the guy, this guy, shout out to Kevin Kennerly, who is an amazing actor. He was playing Macduff, and we got to fight 150 times. And one time, my blade broke.
Oh.
and it's shot, thank gosh, upstage and not into because if it would have went into the audience,
right,
it would have probably killed somebody.
Wow.
You know, because like half of my sword got
Just
cut off,
severed. Yeah.
It severed and it shot and it went and stuck in front of the set.
No!
You know, and then and like the fight was scored to this piece of music, and the music ran out, and we kind of looked at each other like, and like, what do we do now?
Yes.
Just like we had like extra blades on stage, so I just grabbed
another one
blade and we just started the fight all over in silence, and it was amazing. But you know, I love that. You know, like I really hate it when I go see like a play and the stage combat is menial. Do you know what I mean? It's not believable,
right?
You know, and when I trained at school, like I mean, that was one of the things that we really, you know, drove in. It's like for safety first. You know, you take care of. You know, even though I have like a, you know, like a bulging disc and like one of my fingers won't, like this finger doesn't close anymore because of that, you know, you fight that long, things are going to happen to your body. But like for the most part, we kept each other alive and safe. And there's an enormous amount of trust that comes along with working with, you know, with that kind of, it's very dangerous and we could have hurt ourselves and whatever. Right. But I really enjoy that. You know, Shakespeare to me, not all of the plays, mind you, but like there's a and then I've done probably 2/3 of the canon, and yeah, I mean, but the language and you know, like the visceral nature of the language, it's consciousness expanding. And so, you know, with the Orville, and I think with a lot of science fiction shows, a lot of writers and directors, they really fancy quote unquote classically trained actors to handle that language so it doesn't sound like gobbledygook.
Yes. You know, oh my gosh, yes. Because we were talking about that when I was on set. We were talking about the set of lines you had there, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, but it's nothing compared to what Mark Jackson, shout out to Mark Jackson, who plays Isaac, that like, like what he has to spit out. And granted, like he has like he's an artificial intelligence like being. Yes. That you know, he has no emotion, so like there's like the saving grace, but he still has to spit out like this scientific diatribe that like, and he makes it make sense.
He does.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, dude, how do you memorize this stuff? I have no, like, it's so, yeah. I mean,
and all his movements that he has to do, and in that suit. So, oh my gosh,
specific. And he's a theater dude.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I mean, he comes from like the theater and like, you know, Shakespeare and stuff like that. And like, you know, I mean, and at the same time, I always like to mention when I talk about Shakespeare, I will always like to mention or need to mention August Wilson too, because August Wilson, you know, the great American playwright, rest in peace, August Wilson. Shout out to August Wilson. Like his language is on par with that of Shakespeare, and if you don't know, you should know.
Yeah.
So, because his language is that demanding, it's falling forward. It's not pedestrian. Like it's heightened language, and you know, and it's rapid fire. And you have to, your muscles have to be working and clicking.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've done shows hungover, and it's not fun. You know
no, it can't be.
Because it's not. It's not. Yeah. Your body, your instrument is not. It's not.
It's not tuned and not ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, so I what I've learned over time is that there's a certain level of purity, even food-wise. I don't even like to. Have too much food on my stomach.
Yeah.
You know, just enough to not pass out. You know?
Well, then.
Anyway, we got any questions?
Yes, we do. So, as far as Shakespeare go, how much does that play into your character of Bortus, your experience with Shakespeare?
Language specificity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Paying attention to text, consonants, and vowels. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, text work, absolutely. Breathing, absolutely. It's all part of the same, animal that is my instrument.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like consciously, I don't know, but I know that, I know that it's all, I know that without the experiences that I've had, doing the work that I've done, I think, I don't think that, like, I know that it served me. I know that it's only enhanced, my understanding. And also being able to hear when it's right. Do you know what I mean? And I can hear when it's not right. I can hear when it's not on the meter, so to speak. I can hear when it's not, like, clicking. You know what I mean? Right. So it's all part of the same animal.
Animal, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So, another question back to the makeup. When you have those fight scenes, how much repair work has to go into fixing the makeup after you do some of that? I mean, because obviously you bring in stunt folks and so forth, but there's definitely scenes where you still have to be pretty active, right?
Yeah. I mean, in the makeup, shout out to the makeup crew. Like, they're there every take to fix and reglue and, reglue again and reglue again. Like they're paying attention to all that stuff, and they're watching the monitors.
Yeah.
And then if I see something, I'm like, oh, the stuff that they can't see, like a little, like if I lift my head up and there's like a little crack right here in my nose, they can't see, but the camera's going to pick up.
Yep.
Like that, it's on me to be aware of that, so they don't have to fix it in post, but so that they can come in and fix it with a little dab of, like, whatever spirit. Whatever, it's not spirit gum. We're beyond that.
Right. We don't do that anymore.
No, but like they come in and fix it. So it's also like a working, even in the application of it, even in the putting it on. Like I have to, like, there are times when I can't talk because they're gluing something down in my mouth, or there are times when I have to, like, let something dry,
right?
And or I have to, like, stretch my face a little bit so that they can apply it, so that when it goes back, it's stay. You know what I mean? Like, it's all an awareness, and it comes from an appreciation of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I love makeup and all that stuff, and like in high school, I'm, American Werewolf in London and all like this. Like I made all these masks for myself, and cool. So I have a deep appreciation. And I'm a painter as well, so I have a deep appreciation for color blending and how, like, depending on what the lighting is, and making a consistency with the light. Like I want them to do their best work too. So, like, I need to be aware of everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I need to be or as much as I can, so that I can be like, oh, you know what? Like, we should blend this a little bit here, because this lighting is doing this, and it's gonna ring off some bells. Like Brando did the same thing. It's like about being aware, man. It's like not, and I'm not preaching or anything like that, but I think that what a lot of actors maybe miss an opportunity to be a part of is the technical aspect of not just hitting your marks, but knowing, like, if I turn my head this much, or if I turn it too far, the light's going to hit me this way, and it's going to throw the shot off. You know what I mean? It's a lot to, and I think that's what crazy. It's a lot, but in order to make the sublime level of work, I think it only helps the process of everyone else if I'm aware in the moment what is going on, and call attention to correcting it, or and so that we can stay on this line. It's a very technical. It's very technical. Right? I think that a lot of people, not just actors, but like people who enjoy what actors do, or creative beings or whatever. Like there's a super technical aspect to all of this, that if you and it's always changing and moving, because technology is growing and stuff like that. But like, I think that the more that you, as the person that's being photographed, can be aware of how you're being photographed, it's only going to help the whole thing.
Right.
And that's and I'm learning this.
Yeah, that's cool. And that you worked so closely with them. That's great. Well, I think we have time for one more question, and this one plays right into all that. Have you ever had a great take end up on this being scrapped, basically, because of makeup or camera fault?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know. No, let's have another question. I don't want to end on that. I don't know.
Oh, you don't want to end on that?
Because
all right.
I don't.
Just too many.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't have a one to be like, oh, that was the one. You know,
you don't.
No.
Okay. How about this then? What is the most amount of pages you had to memorize in a single day shoot?
Ooh. 2 or 3.
Okay.
With some lines in between, but like I'm driving like the most of everything. But that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing compared to what I've had to
what you're doing
for
Shakespeare.
Stage.
Yeah, right.
For stage. Or even like there's a company that I worked for in San Francisco called Word for Word. Mm-hmm. And what they do, shout out to Word for Word, they take short stories and they stage them. So there's a story called Sonny's Blues, written by James Baldwin, and it's basically I had to memorize a novel, I had to memorize a short novel. It's about a 60-page short novel, and I had to memorize that, and that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. So,
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm paid to memorize things.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's you could be paid to do a lot of things.
True. Well, Peter, thanks so much.
That we're out of time.
I know. We'll have to come back another time for sure.
So yeah, when we get back to work,
right? Then we'll have you back on for sure. That'd be awesome. For
sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Peter, thanks for being here, my friend.
You're welcome.
So good to see you, and we'll chat soon. All right,
folks. Love you, family. Love you, everyone.
Thank you so much. And everybody in chat, thanks for being here. We appreciate it so much. And we will see you. And until next time, we will see you at the table.
You will be silent.
Night, all.